Hey everybody, today we're going to work on this. It is a Polish tank, thus the Polish writing, but this is a Vickers E Mk A light tank that was popular in the 1930s. It's a British built tank and it was sent, or sold I should say, to many different countries around the globe, Poland being one of them. Russia also had these, and several other countries around the world as well. So we're going to take a look at this kit today. This is by Mirage Hobbies out of Poland, and this is a 1/72nd scale tank, which means it's going to be really small. So this might be a lesson in frustration. We're going to see, because here's an example of the size of the parts. More here. So what surprised me upon opening this kit was I have built this model in the 1/35th scale, which some of you people may have seen the videos on the Vickers and the T26s. So in 1/35th scale, the tank is about, this big. It can fit in your hand. But here, here's the bottom of the hull. So that's going to be the size of the tank, is right there. It's about the size of my thumb, the whole thing. So we're going to see how this goes. And I was expecting this to be a very simplified model kit, because this was very inexpensive. I got a bunch of these cheaply because I figured, well, this should be a fun kit for kids, right? I'm not so sure, because looking at these itty bitty parts, and there's a lot of them, it's basically it's pretty much the same kit as the 1/35th scale, the large one, just shrunk down. It's got the same amount of parts, and they're just smaller. Sounds logical, but then not really, because at a scale this small, I would have thought they would have cut corners, but it doesn't seem like they did. They just gave you more work to do in a very tiny space. So let's see if this is doable. If it's even fun. It could be a lesson of frustration, like I said. Who knows? I'm up for the adventure, so let's take a look. So here's the instruction sheet, which is in a few different a few different languages. So there are some options here. It's in Polish. There's an English story here, history of it. And basically what they've got is a blown up illustrations, in which there are quite a lot to look at. Yeah. What I did find weird on the back is the painting, and, well, there's not much for decals, but a guide to painting and detailing on the back here. But two of the designs are designs that you can't build with this kit. These are Polish versions with different guns and different engines. I'm not really sure why that's even included in this kit, because you can't do these. Maybe it's to make you think, ooh, I should buy those, because they're also mentioned on the back of the box. Other variants you could get, but not in this box. Anyhow, I'll stop complaining and let's just jump in, right? So I'm going to try to see if I can get this hull together. See if we can get something going here. So this is kind of referred to as like a flat model. And what they mean by that is some models give you the hull, or the bottom of the hull is like in a tub, the sides and everything already done. This has a series of flat pieces that you have to put together to create the hull. And that has its pros and cons. And we'll see how it works in this case. Like I said, tiny parts. But the detail is quite good. For those of you who really like building models and like a model, it's got very realistic detail. This does seem to have it. You can see like all the rivet features and so forth. So it's nicely represented that way. So for detail, yeah, it looks pretty good. The buildability aspect is what we're going to find out. Yeah, that could be better, but you know, to file off the details here, to be careful. Okay, so these should, let's find out if they do go on well. Okay, yeah, looks like it should work. It's fitting this way, putting the sides of the hull onto the bottom part. Let's get the glue going and see what kind of issues we run into. Yeah, you have to be very careful because it's so small that a blob of glue can really drown this thing because it's so tiny. Yeah. I used to build a lot of models in this scale when I was young. That's when my eyes were really good. Alright, this is not liking me too much here. Oops. Well, I may have to yeah, so that should be a lot more flush than it is, but I can't seem to get it. No, there it is. Alright, it did eventually pop in. Ugh. It just popped out. Okay. And of course, the glue's going to get all over me. Why not, right? Is there a rear panel? Let's see, there is one. Alright, we'll keep working on it. We'll see about the other side. Yeah, the other side seems to fit better. So that could be a good thing. Yeah, this is really a good test on your eyes because it's so tiny. Okay, it doesn't ask for the rear panel until a later step, but you know what, I kind of want that on there now because this is very delicate and I don't like the way it's just sitting there. Looks like this should indent a little bit at the back, which it isn't. Don't like how the rear of this fits on there. Could be better at the rear end of this thing. Alright, there's the front. They're having you put the fenders on now. I may want to try to get a little more on this to strengthen this a bit. Because I really want that whole block to fit together nicely here. So I guess what I'm saying here is, since there's two bags of parts, I think this bag here, let me finish my thought here. So these bags with this, I think, are the standard parts for every variant of this vehicle. And I think these trees here are more specific to this particular variant of this tank with the engine parts, the hull top. But this has got twin turrets. So here's that, the twin turrets. And this is the rear plate on this one, which I guess would be different on other ones. So that's here. Here's 8. I'm trying to work with the wire cutters here at the library. Slightly different tools here at this workstation than I do in my basement workstation. All right, let's take a look and see how this aligns. All right, this is like a little tow hook. Yeah, it's there. It is molded on there. And that faces up. See if I can get this to sit on the back. How is that supposed to go exactly? Trying to figure what to line it up with. Oh, I'll line it up this way, push it. Yeah, okay, I think that's a good way. That makes a pretty stable box. So there's the tub of the hull. So what I mean by a flat model is each of those parts were a flat piece that you had to put together. Others come with a full tub where this whole thing would have been molded as one piece, so you don't have to go through all this. That's something you might see on the box when you're buying the model. It might explain what type of hull it has. Not everybody does that, but that's, anyway, you get the idea now that this one you had to put the panels of the whole bottom together. All right, I'm gonna bounce around a bit here, which is not my normal style of building these things, but I wanna make sure this all fits together right before it dries. So I'm gonna try to work on, I'm gonna avoid the wheels for now. There's a whole lot of wheels over there. So I'm gonna try to work on the hull, the top of the hull. In this case, it's got, you know, the 2 holes to put a twin turreted variant in there. Looking like the turrets are just going to pop in there. May have to either glue them or just let them sit and hope they don't fall out. I don't see a way of retaining them in there. Okay, it looks like I think you can see where the other variant would have been, because here's the top for the twin turrets, and there's one here for a single turret variant. So that's probably the other one. Do they give? Yeah, they show you. There's 2 single turret variants here. There's one there, and then this other one here with the single instead of the twin. The idea of the twin turret tank was that when the tank crossed a trench, because they were still thinking of like the World War I trench warfare concept, so the tank would go over a trench, and have 2 turrets with a machine gun in each turret. So as it crossed the turret, it could then aim down each side of the turret as it passed over it and shoot each length of the trench on both sides. So that was part of the idea of the twin turret concept. It didn't really work out to be a very effective design in World War II, because it was a very different kind of war than the First World War. But that was what they were thinking when they were coming up with these designs. So it's not quite as far-fetched if you think about it. When you take into that trench concept, you know, in account there, it's a little more sensible. Okay, this is a bunch of weird, more plates. Okay, so let's see if we can find 5 and 6 and 7. Where's 4? 4's over here. I'll pump that off. Get a little piece off there. Again, very tiny parts, right? Like I said, it's the same as if you're building a larger version. Not sure how much I'm going to get done here. I'm kind of doing this during a break while they're cleaning the library upstairs. Trying to work on this a little bit. It's not exactly clear. I think it goes like that. All right, so got that. And then the front of that is going to, actually on each side of this rectangle, they have you gluing these different bolted on plates. So there's one in the front there, and I got a couple to put on the sides. Oh, there's several different options here, so I can see this design for many different variants on this kit here. So I need 7 is this one. I can get at it. Kind of regretting I didn't take my my X-Acto knives in with me here, because these are tiny parts, and trying to get them with the wire cutters is a little challenging, because the knife you can kind of get a really precise cut. But so far it's working with the wire cutters. So this could work at the library as a project. Although at the moment I'm thinking these parts are so small, I don't know if a kid in this program, that we had here at the library would be content to work on something this puny and hard to see. We'll see. All right, there's that side. On the plus side, so far it's going together well. It's just a matter of it being tiny. All right, number 10 is on the other side. I can find. Here's 10. Okay. Better get at that. Yeah. Wrestling with it. And in case you're wondering, yeah, I'm in a basement again. I'm in the library basement. Away from the public, away from high traffic areas. And of course, these areas are going to get cleaned. They get cleaned several times a day, so we're paying attention to that. So you can start to see, I don't know if you can get it on that, some of the different panels that are on that. Okay. This is, you know what, before I do that, because it shows this other piece, which, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put, you can see, it's sticking to me today. It's still humid even with the air conditioning. It's still a little sticky. All right, so here you can see this plate that's going to go on the front of the hull. And then this part we're just doing is going to go down. I got to get those fenders ready. So I'm going to try to get that so we can plunk that all together quickly. Make sure we're not running too crazy on time. Not yet. Okay. So in case you're wondering where I got these models from, actually I got these online from a like a hobby warehouse. It's squadron.com is what it's called. And they had a lot of this line of stuff because I got these a while back. These have been sitting in the basement at the library for a while because, like I said, I got these at a really low price through the mail, a bunch of them, and was thinking they were going to be really simple, basic kits, but they're a lot more complex than I expected. Which, for an adult, this is probably pretty cool because this is a really nice, detailed kit. It's just very tiny. I was looking at it as hoping it was going to be a small and simple kit for a child, but it's definitely not that. But, well, maybe. I'm jury's out. Because so far I like the way it's going together, but I haven't really gotten into the really tiny stuff yet, so I may change my mind when I get into that. For example, I'm having a little issue. I'm putting the glue on a little heavy, even though I got that little applicator on here. Because something this scale, it's a little challenging to Where did that? Is it supposed to be like that? It's going to go here. Okay, yeah, looks like it's going to fit pretty good. But I think I need to get those fenders on that they talked about in the first step. They say both fenders are the same exact piece. Usually it's a right and a left. In this case, it doesn't seem to indicate a different. No, they're different. Yeah, I don't like that. A little tough to cut these out of the tree here. Again, just working with wire cutters and trying to do this as if I was doing it with kids here at the library. So using the tools that I would use with the kids. All right, let's get these. Oops. Flying lessons. All right, that's going to need a little bit of cleanup because it's an awful lot of connecting points. I've got to file down, make them not too bad. At least because it's so small, the filing is fairly minimal. So you don't have to waste too much time watching me sand stuff down on this because the parts are so tiny that a couple of swipes and you're kind of done with it. Yeah, easy to drop because it's so small. I'm curious how these rubber band style treads are going to work. We'll see. It's It's probably going to be easier that way because I can't imagine doing these as a plastic thread, something this tiny. And doing it link by link would be impossible in something this small. Just hope they fit well. Okay. How does it show? At least the diagrams are pretty good in showing the details of the parts, so you get a sense of where the front and the back are. So at least the artists were nice showing us the details so that I can make a more educated guess as to how these are going to go on. Oh, it goes on the side. Ugh. Don't like that very much. It's gonna go. Not a fan of the Fenders. Not really. I see how it's going to go. Not sure that's going to be good or not. There's a little railing on the side here that you along the side of it. Have it backwards, let's get it back to forwards. Come on. Yeah, the Fenders could definitely be done better than this. Ugh. Yeah, not a big fan of that. Okay, I'm going to try to put this top on quickly. Let's see the part there. There's another piece I'm going to try to get. Right, let me show you what's going on because I know I'm focused over here. All right, so there's two Fenders on the sides. They're not really in that well, but I'm going to try to get some stuff together and try to lock all of these components together so they don't fight too much. So I'm probably just going to stop at the point where I get this little hole together so it's not going to be loose and wobbly and falling apart. So it is kind of, for me, a race of getting these parts on quickly so that it doesn't sag out of place and dry that way. Might have been an idea to have had these parts all cut and cleaned and ready to go for a quicker assembly. This little V-type piece that's supposed to go on the side here of this superstructure. This area is where there's going to be the driver's hatch. It's going to sit here somehow. I'm kind of nervous about putting that on afterwards. Not sure if that's going to work out. I'd like to get that together today before everything dries out of place. So yeah, there is a bit of a speed factor here. Okay. Well, all right. There's parts on the hull here to line that up better, so I'll do that. All right, put this. Yeah, attempt to get that lined up. I think I can. Push this down into the slot. Yeah. Tweezers. Really don't have anything that helps keep the fenders straight. I was hoping part of this would do that. Yeah, the back of the hull is going to do anything to help that out either. No. Okay. I'm going to put the, you can see, there's the front hatches. I'm going to put those on. I might stop there because I'm going to be running out of time. We'll see. Okay, so the doorway for the driver, 12 and 13. So you can tell it's British because the driver's sitting on the right side. I'm a big fan how this is going. Tiny pieces, very tiny pieces. How does that go? Be a very cramped situation here for the driver in this tank. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna get that on there. very carefully. Tweezers. All right, let's get the other door. Thing is with this model, if you really wanted to go crazy and be really detailed, it is designed that if you wanted to open the hatches here, you could. And actually put a crew person in there, and if you want to just make your own interior, it's possible on this kit. I think it would be maddening to say the least, but it has that ability. Speaking of maddening, this door, the top hatch doesn't want to fit right. Of course it doesn't, right? Yeah. This is a mess. Alright, I'm not happy with the way this hatch is going. I'm going to have to, oh, there we go. Yeah, that doesn't really want to fit very well. Unfortunately, that is not a pleasant part of the model, and of course now I just bent the fenders. Yeah, so at this point, a kid would not handle that part well. The fenders in that front hatch are not pleasant. But that's where we are now. See the feathers, see that front hatch? It's not the best. I don't know. I probably could have done better on that. I'm just gonna drop this engine, the engine back on there, and that's where I'm gonna stop it. There may have been a better way to approach that driver's hatch. That's really been the worst part of the model so far. The fenders are annoying, but I think they're doable. Okay. Try to get this engine and the whole rear together.
That's not too bad. Still not like the fenders. Although, to be fair, the fenders would bend on the real vehicle too. They did get all dented. Okay. Check on the time. Hello. Yeah, of course, there's more telling me. There. We'll just finish this up, I guess. So that's where we are. Okay. Detail's pretty good, but it is a bit challenging because it's something really small. Really, really small. That's a piece of some kind. Where did that come from? That worries me. What part is that? Let's see it. Alright, somehow this part got loose, so I'm going to put that on so I don't lose it. Looks like the part that holds the rear idler wheel. Not sure where it came from, what tree that came from, but it fell off. Nothing there. Where'd he come from? There it is. Fell off from there. Okay. I know there's a muffler that goes there and a couple other spots. But anyway, all right, I'm going to call it a day there. So that's what the Vickers E Mk A is looking like at the moment. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.